You guys, guess what? I got some fabric in the mail this week. It's been a long time since I've gotten fabric in the mail. You know, during the pandemic when I was making masks all the time, I was getting packages, you know, left and right, and it was so fun because every day was like Christmas. But it's been a little while, but I'm not sure if you guys are aware of what is called the Hoffman Challenge. So the Hoffman Fabric Company was pretty much the company that is responsible for introducing, you know, the world of sewers to batik fabrics, which are like hand-dyed fabrics. You see me work with them a lot. You know, they come from India, you know, Indonesia, places like that. And they use a process with wax and dye, and they make this just really beautiful fabric. And when you're in the fabric store, the one distinction you can tell, well, batiks have the very much like that kind of tie-dye look, like high quality tie-dye look. But if you ever look at batik fabric, it's the same on the front and the back because it's dyed all the way through, unlike printed fabric, you know, where you have obviously your top side and then, you know, your reverse side. So anyways, the Hoffman Fabric Company every year has what's called the Hoffman Challenge. And the only time I ever entered the competition was, gosh, it must have been probably 13 years ago, something like that, like 2010, maybe 2011. And I did a self-portrait. And back then, the fabric was this Asian print. Right here, you can see the self-portrait that I did. Unfortunately, I didn't have really good photos of it. I was so in a rush to get everything done and sent off that I never actually took a completely finished photo of the quilt. So you can see here, you know, what the layout was like. I was kind of going for a Garden of Eden type thing. And then this green fabric here in the snake was actually the challenge fabric, but it actually had pink cherry blossoms woven in. So here's the fabrics that I used for the entire thing, and the green and pink one there is the one that was the actual like competition fabric. So anyways, this was my first ever self-portrait. I like the way it came out, though my eyes are a little wonky, you know, like I keep saying that I'm gonna redo it and you know, and try it again one of these days, which is, you know, who knows, maybe it'll happen. But anyways, but the point is of this competition is if you they put out this whole line of fabric, like 15 different fabrics, and you have to choose use at least one of the 15 fabrics in your quilt, and then you submit it to the jury. If they like your quilt, it gets selected. It travels all over the country, you know, the United States and sometimes Canada, for a year for people to look at it, and then they send it back to you. So I entered, you know, way back when. I got accepted, my quilt traveled around. When they shipped it back, I had moved and it got shipped to the wrong address and someone stole it. So the first ever portrait that I ever did was stolen. And the Hoffman people, they were so wonderful. They actually sent me about $500 in fabric, which was equal to the value of the quilt, you know, to make up for the loss of the quilt. But since then, I've never gotten around to entering the competition again. So anyways, I'm fresh off my beach vacation from Hilton Head, which was wonderful. And I was sitting here like the day before I was about to leave, and for whatever reason, the Hoffman Challenge popped into my mind. And I thought, hey, you know, I haven't done that in a while. I literally like have 2 months where I don't have a custom order, which rarely happens. So I was like, I'll look it up. Well, it turns out this year for 2003, the deadline is September 1st, I think, like 6 weeks from now, something like that. And I was like, oh shit, better get on it. And they're doing something special because this is their 100-year anniversary, right? 100 years. This year you have to use 5 of the 15 fabrics. So I'm like getting ready to go to the beach, and I sat down the night before I went to the beach and I start scrambling, and I'm trying to get my hands on these 15 fabrics so that I can get them here so I can bang out this quilt and submit it by September. So I managed to get, I had to order from 2 different places because, you know, people have been ordering these fabrics for months, so I'm kind of late to the game, but I did get my hands on some for a pretty fair price too. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've got here. The first one, which clearly must have been like the most popular print because this was the one that was hard to find, that almost everyone was sold out of. It's called Seafoam, and these are all batiks that Hoffman, I don't think any of these are brand new. These are like their most popular batiks. And the difference that they did this year was everything is in blue, and I'll explain to you why in just a minute. So this one I got from Florida Quilt Shop, which I've definitely ordered from before, and I think I paid $6.13 for a half yard, but you can see it's really, really pretty. You know, I can see why this was like the big seller that seemed to sell out everywhere first. You know, it's gorgeous, it's versatile. You know, a lot of people love these colors. So anyways, I managed to snag a half yard from them. And then I was so happy to find Genesis Quilting. By the way, both of these shops are on Etsy. So Florida Quilt Shop and then Genesis Quilting got me. Look at this pretty package. I mean, seriously, like this makes my heart beat faster when fabric is like perfectly folded. I love it so much. So Genesis Quilting, you can see, and I love how it was obvious they knew I was going for the Hoffman challenge because they had the big, you know, Hoffman brochure in there. And let's see how, if I'm not too stupid and I can figure out how to open a plastic bag. There we go. Oh my gosh, you guys, so beautiful. Look at these. Ugh. So the reason that everything is blue this year is because, you know, Hoffman, and it's got the whole story in here, which is really great in this brochure. But it says, Hoffman has a long family tradition of revolving around water. It's the center of all we do. Our lineage in the surfing world propelled our business forward as we pivoted to create the first aloha prints for the fashion industry. Our love of the ocean and surfing led our second generation, Walter and Philip, to Bali and on a surf trip only to find a new art form in hand dyeing and batik making, which led us to our largest category today, Hoffman Bali Batiks. So, you know, in celebrating their 100 years, they decided that this year, the line of fabric that they were going to release, everything is blue, right? Oh, can you see how like lovely this is? It's so nice. And not only is this just you know, like different and fun that they're doing it this way this year with using 5 fabrics and all blues. But the thing I love was, and the reason that I went ahead and did buy a large portion and made sure I got all of them is because these are fabrics that I will use in my regular art quilts anyways. So that's great. Because the year that I entered, it was Asian prints. And I love Asian prints and I use them often, but I don't use them in large quantities like for backgrounds and stuff. So I actually still have some of the original fabric from 13 years ago from the only other Hoffman challenge that I entered. Oh, and I almost forgot. One awesome thing was this little package inside my fabric. It says, thank you from Genesis Quilting. Thank you, Genesis Quilting. It's a little charm pack. I love this. I love getting freebies. If you've ever ordered any of my apron patterns, I always put stickers in there because if you've seen my sewing machine, I clearly like stickers a lot. And I'm getting some, you know, My Quilts Kick-Ass stickers printed up. So if you buy anything, you'll get some freebies from me too. But anyways, I love little trinkets like this. So thank you, Genesis Quilting. So I'm very excited about this, and I've got the perfect quilt lined up for it, and stay tuned till the end and I'll give you a little sneak peek of the art quilt that I'm working on. But first I want to show you all of these prints. Now this one is absolutely beautiful. I've purchased this one quite a few times before. This one is called Augusta, and the cool thing about the you know, the little brochure is it's got photos with the names and stuff of all the fabrics. So this one is Augusta. I've used this a bazillion times. It's just such a nice teal. It's in the baby quilt that I recently made. If you saw my last video on the Marine Corps quilt, I at the end I had a little clip of a rainbow baby batik quilt I made, and that one's definitely in there. This one here with the swirls I love. It's just called it says 19-Navy, and this automatically makes me think of Starry Night by Van Gogh. You know, I love the movement. I feel like you could cut it up and layer it and it would make a really cool sky. So keep that in mind because that's going to play into the pattern that I'm going to be creating for this one. This one, oh God, I love this. Deep blue, 682-deep blue. It's so beautiful. It's deep blue, but you know, and green. There's green in there. This is definitely something that I will use up for sure. I got a full yard of that one. I felt like Genesis Quilting had some pretty fair prices I think all in all, I paid about $6 for the other one, and with shipping and everything from the 2 places, I got all 15 pieces, and most of these are a yard. A couple of them are a half yard, but I think I spent about $150. So this one right here, oh, and it looks so much cooler in person than you could tell online. Online, you could tell that it was like blue with little flowers, but if you look, the flowers actually have quite a bit of that like beautiful teal in them. And this one is called 252-Dublin. Dublin seems like a weird name for that. I don't know. Do they look like clovers kind of? Whatever. Anyway, still beautiful. This one, this like polka dot is 167-Marine. Really, really pretty. It's just a good, you know, a good basic blender with a little bit of texture in it. Oh, and here's the ones that I really like. I love anything that feels tropical, which if you'd seen, you know, the last couple art quilts I did, that tropical one was my absolute favorite. So this one is F7 French Blue. Really beautiful. Just, I love it, you know. All the texture, the leaves. This is something that I'm really glad I got a yard of. Almost kind of wish I could have afforded to get more than one. And this one here is called Waterfall, 449-Waterfall. It's got a great look to it. It almost looked like it had like an actual like print of, you know, something specific, but it doesn't. It's just a good kind of like wishy-washy, nice light pale blue. And this one is the same, like same kind of print way, but this one's called Rainforest, 553. So you can see same texture, but lots of different colors in there. There's even some purples going on. Really, really lovely. Love that. Definitely feels like a rainforest. If I turn it this way on this side, it almost makes me think of like tree bark, kind of. Yeah, it really does kind of look like tree bark. That's cool. So here's another polka dot, but it's quite a bit different. The first one, the polka dots are all, you know, really kind of uniform. And this one is called Mermaid. And on the internet, it looked like it was just blue. But again, like the other one, if you see up close, it's got a lot of the teal in there, which I love. There's a lot going on in here, a lot more than you can tell. You know, the photos on the internet don't do it justice. I mean, I could tell they were beautiful on the internet, but they're definitely even prettier in person. This one, I believe, this one's called Tahiti, and now that I look it up close, I kind of wish I'd ordered more. Same thing, lots of that teal tucked in there. I love the little swirls with the dots and stuff. Yeah, that's going to be lovely. Here, this one has like a sunflower look to it. It's called Sea Breeze. This is the palest one of the whole lot, which is good because my quilt that I'm going to be working on has some light and dark areas that hopefully this will be really well used for. This one, it's really pretty. I thought the leaves, they looked smaller online. I thought that they were going to be more like this size, but I'm glad that they're different because that gives me a lot of different textures to work with. This one's called 578 Delta. Also just really beautiful. Again, I think I got a half yard. Probably should have got a full yard, but whatever. Hopefully my quilt won't get stolen, but if it does, maybe I'll get some more free fabric. I don't want this one to get stolen. I'm excited about this one. This one is called Robbins Egg, but it really looks like waves, mountains, waves. I've got a good idea what I want to do with this one. Again, lots of layers. You know, from far away, you might just think it's blue and white, but up close, you can see lots of teals and stuff all worked in there. And last but not least, this one is called Breeze. Very pretty, nice and light, real delicate. You can see up close. Looks just like the Dublin one, more or less. And let me see right here. U2488. Yeah, so you can see the way they label the fabric, right? So sometimes I'm assuming, I guess like this number may be actually what the fabric is, and then this is like the color, you know. But anyway, you know, there's lots of beautiful stuff in here. I'm super excited about this pile. And so I want to show you what I'm going to be working on. So I have this wonderful friend named Amanda. She's an artist and an aerialist, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. And I met her in Salt Lake City, maybe like 15 years ago, give or take a couple years, something like that. And she, you know, there wasn't a lot of female tattooers way back when. And so when I I would go to these conventions, I always made friends with all of the women that were working. So Amanda and me hit it off right away, and we've been kind of long distance friends ever since. She's always been a bit of a muse for me. You know, she does all kinds of really beautiful tattoos and other art, and she travels a lot. And when I say she's an aerialist, this is what I'm talking about. She does a lot of these kind of like Cirque du Soleil type things. So definitely go check out her Instagram page. It's at A Man to Hug and Kiss 13. I'll put a link. But anyways, she takes really cool pictures, and she models too. So she does kind of like witchy type things and like wood sprites, or like here's another one of her where she's a mermaid, you know, but she's always got really cool, interesting things to look at on her page. So more than once I've asked her if I could use her as a quilt reference, and she's so wonderful and generous. She always says yes. So anyways, this was a photo. She has a tattoo shop in Puerto Rico. She has another one in the United States as well. But so this was a photo of her there, you know, that was taken. And I always thought this was so beautiful. Like, especially like my favorite thing about it, honestly, is the way her hand is like pointy, because I love little details like that in my quilts. So this beautiful picture, a friend of hers named Eric Hood took it and adapted it into this. Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh my goodness. So anyways, maybe like 2 weeks before I even started thinking about the Hoffman Challenge, she had posted this on her Facebook page, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. Can I please use this as a quilt reference? And she, of course, said yes. So when Hoffman came out with all the blue fabrics, I was like, ah, perfect. The whole universe is lined up, and now I know what I'm going to do. So if you guys want to watch me work on this, definitely go follow my Instagram page, My Quilts Kick Ass, and you can see as I go. This was the picture I posted yesterday. This is my original sketch that I'm working from, and then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change the dynamics of the quilt just a little bit, because this is so large and she is so small. I want her to really be the focus. So I've kind of got this mock-up here where it's going to be her, and then we'll cut out some of the scenery in the background and adapt it a little bit. But as you can see, like, this is going to be a really beautiful project. I'm super, super excited about it. So if you guys are interested in watching me work on these projects I've got coming up, again, please go like my Instagram page, because I'm always posting little pictures as I work through the projects. Lately, it's been a little bit more of me at the beach, you know, because I've been enjoying my summer. I hope you have too. But now it's time to hunker down and get some work done. And then with Christmas coming not too far off, that's when I get really, really busy. So I hope you guys are doing wonderful, and thank you so much for tuning in as always. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.